Welcome to this live stream that, just like last week, does not really have a plan. Although I actually did put some things in the description more than last week, where I was like, there is no plan. So I thought we would talk a little bit. It's Happy Hanukkah. It is the first day of Hanukkah. We have our donut as usual. And it is a pear pumpkin donut. So we've got our Hanukkah candles lit. And maybe we'll stop live streaming when they've burned down to the end. That seems like a good timer in the background. And I also have my Hobonichi. We have the camera set up to do an overhead view of a plan with me, which is going to be an interesting plan with me because I'm actually leaving later this week on a trip. So it is mainly going to be trying to brainstorm all the things I need to do before my first international trip in 2 years, which as of today looks like it's maybe happening. So, and I thought we could talk about the market corrections that happened on Black Friday. So Black Friday is the day after American Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving in America always falls on a Thursday. So the Friday after that is described as Black Friday. It is in fact celebrated is a strong word because it's not a real holiday. But it is observed all over the world at this point, despite being based on a explicitly American holiday. And it is the first day of the year that many retailers will be in the black, meaning not losing money. And that is because a lot of people will kick off holiday shopping. However, this year, it's as though we haven't had a hard enough 2021. For a lot of people, we're very excited. Last year, very few people around the world very few people in the U.S. were able to do Thanksgiving holidays with their families. Also true in Canada, who has Thanksgiving almost a month earlier. This year, more people are able to do it because vaccinations have been widespread. But we had two unfortunate pieces of COVID-related news. And as we have said many times, COVID is in fact running this economy. And those two pieces of news were the fact that there is a new variant of concern from the WHO, which is called Omicron. And it is widely circulating in South African countries, but has been detected among passengers coming from South Africa in the Netherlands, the UK, and Belgium, I believe. And then additionally, new lockdowns were implemented in Austria. It looks like they may possibly be coming in both Germany and Denmark due to the Delta wave hitting Europe later. So we saw a lot of kind of freakouts from the Omicron variant. And that led to a lot of currency drops. We saw the euro deal with a massive correction vis-a-vis other currencies, and then it kind of rebounded a bit in the weekend markets as sort of we kind of found out that maybe Omicron is going to be okay. Maybe it is vaccinations are effective against it. So that's the piece of financial news I guess I want to cover. I will not be doing a live stream next week at the same time. I will be doing a live stream at some point next week, but I will be, I hope, in Finland. Finland has a very low rate of COVID compared to the rest of Europe, and it looks like our trip is still going ahead. So at my normal live stream time, I will in fact be on a train heading to northern Finland, and therefore also it'll be 2 a.m. So I won't be doing a normal live stream time. Have not figured out what time I'm going to do yet because I don't want to make any promises until I know where we're going to be at. So I will let you know. There's a lot of people here, considering that I literally put the stream up an hour ago and did no advertising. So I'm so glad that y'all joined. We've got a lot of cool people here, including my parents, apparently. Craig is in Fort Worth this week. That's not normally where you're at, right? why is this donut not like other donuts that is 100% the wrong holiday? Oh, if we want to, we may want to watch there are some fantastic TikToks. Bed Bath & Beyond did a appalling job designing Hanukkah merch. And they became the talk of the town on TikTok, and there are some hilarious TikToks about it, including the fact that they made a pillow that says, "Why is this night not like other nights?" and then said Happy Hanukkah on it, which is, I mean, but it got even more hilarious. Like, literally reusing, just straight up reusing Christmas stuff. And, like, using random Yiddish phrases that make no sense in the context. Just real, yeah. Abel Jack says, everyone learning the Greek alphabet. I 100% just looked up how to pronounce Omicron. We had a debate, and it is available. If you Google it, it's like the first thing to come up. So, as a former morning radio host, I am very used to having to look up the pronunciations of foreign names and words about 2 minutes before I go on the air at 6 a.m., so... Dean says, yeah, we have 3 people so far confirmed with Omicron. That would be in the UK. Dean's in the UK. Yeah, I believe all of them were quarantining, already among arrivals. So I guess that's good. I think the concern I have is that, as someone who I'm not an epidemiologist. I don't know how many times I have to say that. The concern is definitely that, like, of passengers coming from South Africa into the Netherlands, they tested passengers. 17 passengers had COVID, which was a very high rate for a plane. And then additionally, they've sequenced those because the plane was coming from South Africa, and they all had the Omicron variant. So, what's concerning to me is, like, there are plenty of places where it is not required that one does have testing on arrival, even if you are vaccinated. And the countries, unfortunately, where this variant happened are all countries with very low vaccination rates because they are part of the global south, which has been deeply underserved on vaccine access, and also has some vaccine hesitancy. So... Dean says, liking the look, very structured. Reminds me of Phryne Fisher, glamorous private detective in 1920s Melbourne. I love Phryne Fisher. Her style is, like, epically amazing. Thank you. I was literally just cold and put on this jacket because I was like, I will overheat while I'm on, but that's why I'm wearing it. But I'm very stressed about clothes for this trip to Finland because we are going somewhere where it is going to be negative 25 Fahrenheit. And I had to buy stuff that I'm only going to use for this trip, and then I'm going to have to resell, and I bought it all used, but, like, it's still very stressful, and I do not like it, and meh. Maggie Underwood says, dream trip. This was, interestingly enough, 100% not on my list of dream trips, but we are going, it's now a dream trip, because I've now done enough research to be extremely excited about it. I was always interested in that particular train. I had watched accounts and, like, trip reports from people that had taken this train before. But we 100% were only going to Finland because we got the plane tickets for $280 round trip from Portland, Oregon, West Coast US, which is outrageously cheap. So, but here's the flip side. Everything in Finland is incredibly expensive. So you can get there cheap right now because who wants to go to Finland in December? But I had to buy, like, a puffer coat rated to negative 25. I had to buy a bunch of freaking wool socks. I had to buy snow boots. I had to get like liner gloves for my gloves. I just have had to buy a lot of warm stuff. I had to buy, like, extra sets of thermals, because I only have one set of thermals because I don't normally need them, but I was like, I don't really want to wear the same thermals even though they're merino, I don't really want to wear the same exact thermals every day for an entire week trip. So it's just a lot of stuff. Dean says, happy Hanukkah. Thank you. Latitude says please, and I don't know what that was about. It was probably about doing the plan with me. Um, Emily says, so many gnomes, so many vaguely anti-Semitic gnomes on the merch. This Bed Bath & Beyond thing, should we just, like, look? I bet there's some pictures. I don't know if we can play TikToks. Is that within the realm of capability? If I play...
Do you have TikTok on your iPad?
No, but I do on this.
Oh, yeah.
Can I AirPlay? Well, but then the question is, finding TikToks again is so hard. Did I like them? Other questions I have.
Oh, God. There's the copyright strike.
Yeah, well, hopefully, here, I turned it, wait. Oh, I love that I can turn my phone sound off, but then TikTok turns it back up. That's real nice of you. How do you find your likes on TikTok? Does anybody know? Ooh, I found it. Okay. I'm really bad at liking things, though. So, yeah, definitely did not like these. You know what? I found them before. I searched Hanukkah pillows. Oh, thank you. Latitude's trying to help me here. Okay. I found it. Also, I will say multiple people have now tried to buy these things before they end up... Wait, how do I AirPlay? I'm doing great over here. Screen mirroring, office. There we go. And TikTok. Oh, we can't do the sound, though.
We can.
We can? Is there sound?
There's sound.
Okay. I'm playing it, but it's not playing.
You won't be able to...
Oh, can everybody hear it? Is it going back and forth?
The design department at Bed Bath & Beyond has both never met a Jew and doesn't like Google that much. None of their pillows for Hanukkah make any sense, and they're all just Christmas, like, repurposed. So this one says, light, love, and peace on this Hanukkah. Fine, but it's a truck full of dreidels, which is like a toy that you play with during Hanukkah, and dreidels are this big. They're like tops on a table, and trucks, so either it's a very small truck or a very big dreidel. And why is there this one says, don we now our Hanukkah sweaters, which is don we now our apparel from a Christmas song, nothing to do with Hanukkah. Okay. The other category of pillow seems to be like, oh no, so, oh dear, Hanukkah is here. Deers have nothing to do with Hanukkah. It's a Christmas thing. And why, oh dear? Don't know. Following up on that, oy vey, which is like, oh no. Why would you want that on a pillow? I don't know. No kvetching this Hanukkah, which is like no complaining. Also not positive message. This one is insane. Mazel, which just means luck. People say mazel tov, like good luck, like congratulations when someone gets married or something. Doesn't apply to Hanukkah. Also, it's just a blue wreath that's been repurposed to be Jewish by adding Jewish stars. Again, I'm pretty sure this is a mistletoe pillow that they repurposed by adding dreidels to make, I don't know. I don't think anyone's walking around with dreidels kissing under them. I don't know. Falalala lamaka. I don't know why people think llamas are associated with Hanukkah. I think people just started saying lamaka because it was cute. Falalala is clearly a Christmas thing. And this pillow is just the flag of Israel. I can't.
Christina
okay, so
is like, what?
That whoever is in the
okay. Christina's like, what? There are so many more. That's the thing. That was not showing them all off. Like, there's some, like, really fantastic one. One of them says, live, love, latka, which is almost not bad. like, live, love, latka is actually, like, I think better than any of the other ones. The reindeer with the menorah, but like not a menorah because it like doesn't have enough antler, like enough on the antlers. So John says these were generated by AI. Interestingly enough, the like Christmas truck that was filled with dreidels, one of the people, so that TikTok was Fanny Pack Snacks, and she actually has an Etsy store where she sells various different Jewish themed things. So check out Fanny Pack Snacks on TikTok because that TikTok blew up. But she the whole like Christmas truck with the dreidels in it, she found out that there was tons of people on Etsy selling that like graphic. And so her current theory is that graphic like is a royalty-free or like low, like royalty-free image of some sort that you can buy and then you can like modify to turn into merch. And so what they did is they just got like, the designers just got like a royalty-free image. Yeah. John says, I would buy a serving tray that says live, love, Latka. Well, I think you could buy a pillow. So a bunch of the why is this night like not like any other nights Hanukkah pillow 100% was like taken down, but everybody was like rushing to buy it because they were like, this is a collector's item. This is when someone screws up this bad, it's gonna be a collector's item. I think the really like hard part to me is that like, does no one at Bed Bath & Beyond know any Jewish person like this? Or have access to Google? Like, it would take almost no effort whatsoever to like, it's just very confusing to me. Latitude says, I bought a I love you a Latka tray from Target, and honestly, I've never been more pleased about a tray because Latka in Urdu is this belongs to Lot. Ooh, that's excellent. That's like such a good, that's very good to know. Maggie in DeWood says, I want to find the gnome ones. Did we have the gnome? Was the gnome in that? I couldn't hear that TikTok, so I wasn't able to see what was happening, but we can find the gnome ones. Like, I guarantee we can find these gnome ones. Also, like, if you search Hanukkah pillows on TikTok, there's some people making some actually good Hanukkah pillows, like crocheting it. Bed Bath & Beyond Pillows does not. Oh, yes, this one is ranking. Should we do another TikTok? Because it's pretty good. Why does it decide to stop screen mirroring so quickly? All right.
Bed Bath & Beyond's collection of Hanukkah products made by someone who has probably never met a Jewish person. First off, we have the 8 Nights, 8 Lights throw pillow, which isn't that bad at first glance until you remember that there's actually 9 candles on a menorah because you use one to light the other candles. 6 out of 10 because I, too, am bad at math. Next up is the Right Light Hanukkah sing-along microphone with all of your favorite Hanukkah songs. This one I mostly found questionable because there aren't Hanukkah songs. It's not Christmas. I guess there's Dreidel, 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 and like the Adam Sandler Hanukkah song. So I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10, assuming that it only has those 2 songs. A Hanukkah tree. Pretty self-explanatory.
I like watching Latitude's reactions to be the same.
For Hanukkah. Here we have the personalized menorah ornament, I guess for your Hanukkah tree, even though it literally says Christmas in the description, which leads me to believe that this is designed to be a gift for your Christian friends to remind them that you don't get to celebrate their holiday. 1 out of 10. Oi to the world welcome mat. So oi, in case you don't know, is actually
a song I want a puppy for Hanukkah?
As kind of like a complaint
or
a noise of like disappointment. So I am going to give this like a 7 out of 10 because that is how I feel about the state of the world. Oi. And last but not least, we have the Hanukkah stocking for when Judah Maccabee visits all the little boys and girls to leave gelt in their stockings. 2 out of 10.
What the
Ranking
way to the
Bed Bath
world?
& Beyond's
I
collection of
almost
Hanukkah
don't
products.
like. It also makes no sense and is terribly like you literally don't you did. You could just type "oi" into Google and find out what it means. But yeah, I do agree with Dean's that this is what happens when you don't pay graphic designers enough. But it also happens when like graphic designers have never interacted with a Jewish person in their entire life, which leads me to believe that this was outsourced to a country with like a very low Jewish population. Because if this is like graphic designers located in the Midwest, New York City, LA, like they statistically know a Jewish person, but they also appear to not have access to Google. So maybe, I don't know, when graphic designers have never met a person. Yeah. So maybe it's because I went to like public school, but we definitely like learned more about Hanukkah in public school than like this implies a knowledge of. Anyway, I don't know. When you put the gelt in a stocking, I know. Yeah, this is 100% literally Christmas decorations repurposed designs. The gnomes, man, I like that. That is like the most like, oh, I don't know why. Emily says, I will say Target's, I think that's meant to say Hanukkah. This stuff this year is really cute if you want Hanukkah merch. Wait, unless that's a company name. One person, of course, because that original TikTok I showed you blew up on TikTok, it got a bunch of terrible comments. And a bunch of the comments were like, well, what is good Hanukkah merch then? And she did another TikTok that was a response to that comment that was essentially like, I actually think Target did a great job, and then showed off some of the Target merch. So, it's a line they do. Oh, interesting. Yeah, they actually seem to have like a grasp. So yeah. Fuzzbubble says, I live in Jew and have been the first Jew many people have known for more than just in passing. Interesting. Cheryl says, I have stockings here for my son-in-law. I have the gelt candy. So yes, you put gelt in a stocking. I mean, that is 100% not what you do with gelt, but you can put it in a stocking if you want. If you want to like mash it up. Latitude says they did a bird menorah at Target. I also think like a menorah is 100% way beyond Bed Bath & Beyond's concept of like what people would want to, they seem to think it's reindeer or so. Yeah, I'm assuming it was at Target because it sounds like way better. That's pretty great. Wow. Okay. Well, this is clearly Lily doesn't have to plan the stream when all she does is play TikToks for you. Just make other people do my work. How are people doing this year? This year, whatever the year is. What is the day? What are we doing? I really want the T-Rex menorah for my nibblings because one of them is really obsessed with dinosaurs and I want to get them the T-Rex menorah. But of course I've thought about doing this several times, but I have not actually ordered it in time. So also you don't want to like get a menorah for someone else's kid without talking with their parents because I'm pretty sure they technically already have a menorah. So I don't know if they would hand it down to their younger sibling, but Latitude says it's very cute. I would buy it. Yes, during COVID times, every week is a year. It's true. It's really been a wild ride. I have like from a what is Lily up to update. I have done more consumerism this Black Friday than I've done in previous months. I bought from Bed Bath & Beyond. I did not buy their Hanukkah merch, but I bought, what did I buy? Oh, food processor. I bought a food processor from Bed Bath & Beyond on Black Friday because I've been wanting to get a food processor for about a year now. And every time I try to buy a food processor, I got very overwhelmed by two things. One, research is extremely hard. for those kind of things. It's like, to me, it feels like every company that makes food processors should have like 2 models, but instead they have like 50 models, and all the models seem to have just extremely slight variations where it's like impossible to tell. And then the second thing that was very frustrating to me was that the budget picks that a bunch of the like websites that were recommending, that were doing like reviews of deals and stuff like that, not reviews of deals, reviews of food processors, like a bunch of the websites that were doing reviews of food processors, they all said that the budget pick was $250. And I was like, oh, that's a lot of money. And I know that like a good food processor you buy and then you keep for decades. So then I was like, well, I don't want to buy a cheap piece of crap. And then the other problem I had was that like trying to source good food processors secondhand just really didn't seem to happen because people just don't get rid of a good food processor once they have it. Anyway, I was very frustrated by the process. And then finally what I did was buy one from Bed Bath & Beyond for 25% off on Black Friday. And then weirdly, they had free same-day delivery, and it came to my house in less than 2 hours, which was like less time than it would have taken me to go to the store. The store is not like super duper close to my house. So, yeah, it was like very bananas. Latitude says child menorah for the children. I don't know. I love the really tiny, cute ones that you get. This is Erin's childhood menorah here. Or maybe teenage menorah. This is your teenage menorah? Teenage menorah. It's very like Erin design style. It's very, very angles. Lots of angles. Yeah, I am excited about having a food processor, and just in time for Hanukkah, I got ingredients to make latkes, which is going to be way easier with a food processor. So, yeah. Maggie in DeWood says, I inherited one from a friend who passed away. It's really nice because I think about her every time I use it. Oh, that's so sweet. Yeah, it is a Bauhaus menorah. It's very Bauhaus menorah. Well, I really do want to get this T-Rex menorah for the nibbling, just because, I mean, I want it for myself, but I feel like because they like dinosaurs so much, it might be better for them. Latitude says, food processor is top tier for latkes. I'm just like, I'm very excited. It is going to improve our lives. It made the time to make nachos, which is important because we eat nachos once a week, sadly at a minimum. It sped up nachos by, I swear, 20 minutes. Like, compared to chopping with our very nice knife. It's just, yeah, really, yeah. John said, Bed Bath & Beyond used predictive analytics and had a delivery truck circling your apartment building waiting for you to click buy. Definitely not true, because I actually was very, very close to checking out on Kohl's, because Kohl's is this, like, what's the best description for Kohl's? It's sort of like a chaotic discount department store. Chaotic is very important to describe. And Kohl's has a lot of discount codes, and you can stack like up to 4 of them. And so I found it on Kohl's, and I was stacking like 4 different discount codes. And you also got Kohl's Cash, which is something I like to describe as pretty much the same as cryptocurrency. But Kohl's Cash, just because it pisses off crypto bros, but Kohl's Cash is like essentially like credits that you can use only at Kohl's, but the redemption rate for Kohl's Cash was like the amount that you got for a purchase on Black Friday was very, very high. And I was about to check it out, but I was a little stressed because I was like, okay, if I get $80 of Kohl's Cash, but I can't spend it on this purchase, and I have to spend it in the next week because you usually have like a limited time to use it. I was like, what else am I going to buy from Kohl's? And then I realized that Bed Bath & Beyond was having the 25% discount, and that actually was like $20 cheaper than the Kohl's one. So I was on the checkout page. I had a lot of sunk cost fallacy because I had already done the like, I'd signed up for their dumb text messaging from Kohl's so that I could get like an extra 15% or whatever. So, yeah. Maggie in DeWood says, perfect. Kohl's is perfect, lol. It's very chaotic, though. It's kind of like if you have TK Maxx in the UK or TJ Maxx in the US, like, it's kind of like that, but lower market stuff. So, and it'll have more of stuff than I would say, like, TK or TJ Maxx does. But, yeah. Cheryl described it as one step above Kmart. I think that's probably true. It's somewhere between Kmart and Walmart. Like, it won't be nearly as extensive as Walmart's selection, but I think it's like a little... The selection and the prices are, I think, a little better than Kmart. Latitude says, this is the moment all the crypto bros come out of the woodworks. So I got to admit, I wanted to do this stream about inflation, but one of the reasons I waited so long to advertise this stream and put it on YouTube as like pending, and I didn't end up putting inflation in the title, was because I just really did not want to deal with the randos. Like, y'all are fine, and I'm happy to talk about inflation with y'all. But what happens is anytime I do, like, a topic that's, like, a hot financial topic, I get people in the chat that I just do not want to engage with, and sometimes they are crypto bros. So, yeah. Cheryl says, that's why I give ice cream makers as gifts. Every time they use it, they think of me. I also feel like one uses a menorah about as often as one uses a ice cream maker, right? I think. Maybe more. Latitude says, obligatory note that all latkes belong to me. John says, just speaks to the pinpoint accuracy of Bed Bath & Beyond analytics. I don't know. I did have to create an awful lot of accounts as part of this research process, and I almost gave up on the food processor several times. But the thing that made me pull the trigger, so there was a whole thread on the Oh My Dollar forums, it's still going, where it's like useful consumerism. Essentially, point out your good Black Friday deals here that aren't just, like, are actually good deals or that other people might want to know about. And one of the things that was helpful for me, which I do recommend if you are trying to follow some of these like deal days, is truly have like a plan for what you would like to buy if there is a good deal for it, and then additionally know what the regular price is, because one thing that we see a lot, especially with Amazon, but other sellers too, is that in the month prior to Black Friday, Cyber Monday, they'll start like raising the price of an item so that the drop of price looks like greater, but sometimes that drop is either the normal price or a price that maybe even is a little higher than the normal price. And that what was helpful was that I had been following this particular food processor for probably about like 6 or 7 months, and I was pretty aware that it does not seem to go on sale. So being able to use that site-wide 25% discount, I had not seen it on sale anywhere. So I was like, all right, I'll do it. Cheryl says that she uses ice cream maker 8 times a year. I mean, that's pretty great. That is, I mean, pretty close to Hanukkah, but like spread out, right? Latitude is logging back onto the forums for, I need to add some stuff into there for skincare stuff, because people are always asking me for skincare. Usually one of the frustrating things about skincare is that the stuff that I use is I have to order it from abroad, and there's always like minimum carts and stuff, and then there are very good deals on one of the websites I use, and they're going through till tomorrow. So, Dean says cheeky blighters. Yeah, another thing that a lot of places have been doing is they've been saying that the deal ends like the next day. Like they'll be like 24 hours only, and then they'll like extend the timer more. So yeah. What are we talking about? What do people want to talk about? Because I really did not Do we want to talk about the market correction? I put it in the thumbnail, but I'm not sure everybody wants to use it. Dean says, imagine having a psychology degree and using it to manipulate people into buying stuff instead of helping people. Well, actually, that's also a behavioral economics degree. That's like so behavioral economics is sort of the meeting of psychology and economics, and it is like very, very commonly used for this purpose, but also a lot of sociologists go into this. So a lot of like advertising and like kind of strategies around that go into sociology. Here's the thing. I know that a lot of people dislike these tactics by corporations, but my belief is that like I use these tactics as a small business. I'm not doing super scammy things like slowly raising my prices and then make it the drop. But I use a bunch of tactics. I use, short-term sales, 24 hours only. We use these in nonprofits too. Like, make sure you match before midnight. This is the last day that you can get a tax, break. Like, there's lots and lots of these tactics. Just because they're being used towards capitalism doesn't, I mean, you have to unpack your feelings about capitalism, but I don't think it's inherently bad for people. Like, not everybody who majors in sociology or psychology wants to go into, like, individual work, nor, like, with sociology, the alternative is going to academia. And academia is pretty freaking broken, too. Like, so... Dean says, you entice us with donuts and cats, which is much more wholesome fare. Yes, but I do still use a lot of those strategies. I mean, I use price anchoring. I present people with 3 options, wanting them to pick the middle one. I use a lot of these tactics, right, in behavioral economics. And behavioral economics was literally the core of encouragement, like the encouragement work I did. So I did transportation encouragement work, which is trying to get people to shift from utilizing single occupancy vehicle cars to other modes of transportation. So shifting some trips to bike, to walking, to carpool, to public transit, and or to trip chaining, telecommuting, any of those things. And transportation encouragement work is at its core behavioral economics. Latitude says, Pusheen Box is doing this thing where you can get a box from the vault if you order a box this winter and it's $50 and I can't decide. Yeah, I mean, that's the really hard thing that I've been struggling with is like, I think, so we don't like as humans uncertainty, right? And we like to be able to know what our future value of something is going to be. And there's this thing that we do essentially called future discounting, which is why people don't save for retirement, which is that like the value of spending this money now is greater to you than the value of taking care of your future self, right? But the other thing about future discounting that I'm dealing with is that like I know I need to buy stuff for this trip to Finland, or at least the last couple weeks, I knew I had to buy stuff for this trip to Finland, but I was dealing with the uncertainty of like, none of my international trips have worked out thus far in the past 2 years because of, dates shifting around and COVID and restrictions changing. And I was really frustrated by having to spend money that I knew I would need on this trip. Like I do want to not be freezing my butt off in Finland, nor do I want to have to pay 25% VAT on anything I buy in one of the most expensive countries in the world. But at the same time, and so I was like, oh, do I buy things when they're on sale for, Black Friday, blah, whatever. And part of me just kept wanting to push it off because if I have to deal with the uncertainty of this trip, maybe it doesn't happen. I don't want to feel like I've wasted money, right? So, yeah. Andrew says, if you feel like a retailer is pressuring you, walk away. Yeah, that's why I really recommend, like, the 2 things that I always recommend when it comes to, like, dealing with impulse purchases is, 1, keeping a list of things that you want if they're non-essential purchases. But when it comes to Black Friday, the big advantage with Black Friday is planned spending or spending on essentials where you get a big discount. So, when it comes to that strategy, knowing what you usually buy, knowing what you usually like, and having a good idea of the usual price, right? So like skincare is one of those things for me where like some of it could be a splurge, but largely it's me going, okay, I'm not going to buy just like an advent calendar of skincare just because it's on sale, right? They're trying to anchor me towards that but it's a bundle of things that I may or may not like just because it's at a discount if it's not something I was going to buy anyway. But stocking up on my moisturizing cream when it's half price, yes, that makes sense, right? Abel Jack, as always, wants to talk about the stock market. I appreciate that you're here for the economics and then we make you watch TikToks and that you still stay. Latitude says, on the one hand, the box is the same for everyone, so the price on the stuff will go way down in the used market. Yeah, that's my thing with the Pusheen box stuff is that, like, I get a lot of stuff from... I've never bought a Pusheen box before because I don't like to get stuff I won't use with stuff I will use, nor do I really like surprises when it comes to purchasing. But yeah, if the popular stuff, like, comes out, it probably will go down in the used market. I don't know. Kind of makes sense. Okay, Fuzz Bubbles also wants to talk about the market. What on earth is price anchoring? Oh, that's a very good question. So there's a couple different things that price anchoring is, but one of the types of price anchorings is if you're creating a market for something, you can anchor people to a price. So one of the common strategies is to give people 3 choices and they'll go towards the middle option usually. So price anchoring would be, let's say you want to sell something for $20, but you give them an option that's $50 and an option that's $13 and an option that's $20. Most people will see the $20 one as the best value. So that's a very common strategy. Pusheen is a gray cartoon cat. Yes, correct. I feel like there's a Pusheen back here somewhere. Maybe there's not a Pusheen. Here's a little Pusheen. Literally, Pusheen is just a kawaii character. But Pusheen Box is like a subscription service to get cute things with Pusheen on them. And he has like comics and stuff about him, but he's mostly just a character for cute things. But yeah. They send out a surprise box of good quality Pusheen themed items once a quarter. Yeah. And so you can subscribe, but I don't like those. John says there's a qualitative and ethical difference when actions happen on a large scale versus a small scale. Murder versus massacre, saving versus hoarding. What's ethical for a small actor to do is different for a large actor. Yeah, I get that. I mean, I don't really think that price anchoring as a small business should be comparable to a murder. But like, I'm not sure I like that analogy. Would not approve of it on the LSAT. But like, I think it is important to understand that like, we are creatures of these psychological rules and tricks. And I don't think it's necessarily, I mean, you have to attack all of capitalism and the idea that they want to act in their profitable interest more than you. I think fraud is wrong, and I think lying about things is wrong. But I don't necessarily think using behavioral economics to try to encourage an action on the part of the consumer who still has free will, right? So, like, the consumer still has free will. If they are, hopefully they are acting rationally in their own best interest. I don't necessarily think using tricks like, painting your restaurant a certain color in order to make people feel more hungry, right? Which is McDonald's uses red and yellow because red makes you go quickly and yellow makes you hungry. Like, is it inherently wrong to do that? Like, is it wrong for a hotel to paint a room blue in order to encourage you to feel sleepy? Is it wrong for a hotel to make the junior suite the most attractive option by making it the middle option? It's hard for me to wrap my head around whether or not we should be angry at the concept of corporations wanting to be profitable without being inherently angry at, like, I think it's more important to be angry at the societal situations that make capitalism unfair to people living under it. What exactly is VAT? I keep seeing online shops mention it all year. It's a new EU tax. No, it is not a new EU tax. 25% really, and why? Okay, so two questions. So VAT is value-added tax. It is a tax included in the price of goods and services in almost every country in the world except the United States. So VAT is sales tax, essentially, except that here, for some reason, we don't just, like, bundle it into the price of goods. We decide to put it on top, and it's also not controlled at the federal level, like everything in the United States, because, once again, we are a bunch of countries standing in a trench coat pretending to be one country. All of the states are really functionally their own countries, and here we actually do sales tax at, like, the individual level. So VAT exists in almost every country in the world other than the United States. We call it sales tax here. The other thing about VAT, why is it so high? That was your question. So why is VAT so high in Finland? Well, Finland has free healthcare, free daycare, very affordable, good transit, free university for folks. Essentially, Finland's got all the stuff, and they use the VAT to pay for all these stuff. But as a tourist, I would have to pay VAT on quite a few things. Sometimes when you buy stuff in a country as a tourist and you pay VAT, you can actually get a refund at the airport because you're not benefiting from the taxes. But there's often tourist taxes on, like, hotels and stuff like that, because tourists are the best people to tax because we don't have a voting say in whether or not we get taxed. That's why hotels tax are so common, because they're very easy to pass generally, because the people that are being affected by them are not the people voting on them. So yeah. Dean says, we have it here in the UK. It adds 20% to any purchase an end consumer makes. Yeah, it is 20% here, but also latitude. I do want to emphasize a couple other things. One, there are exceptions to VAT in some places, like what you're getting, just like there's exceptions to sales tax here, where, like, certain items don't have VAT applied to it. There's a big push to not get VAT applied to period products in a bunch of countries. Actually, Mexico just passed that last week, I believe, maybe 2 weeks ago. The other thing about VAT is that it is, in many ways, I think, has better efficiency, because the way that it's administered usually depends on the country, but the way VAT is administered, it's a lot less complicated to figure out than the way that we do sales tax here for businesses. And there's usually lower income tax in countries that have VAT than we pay here, simply because the federal government doesn't have the option of VAT here. That is only done at the state level. And so which is why in my state we don't have sales tax. We're one of just 2 states without sales tax. We don't have sales tax, but we do have very high state income taxes, because we have to find a way to fund things. And we tax certain items, but we don't have, like, a across the board sales tax, which also just means that other people from nearby states come to us to buy stuff. But it also means that it's just the same as, like, the VAT refunds that tourists can get. As an Oregon resident, technically there's a form if I go to Washington where they can have me fill out my, like, Oregon driver's license number, and then I don't have to pay sales tax in Washington. But most businesses, like, don't want to deal with that form, and so usually they won't do it. But Abeljack says, I heard that VAT actually causes businesses to pay taxes instead of passing it all on to the consumer. True? No, not really. I mean, it's just the same. VAT is pretty much the, like, I mean, it's the same as sales tax. Like, the administration, I think, is a little less complicated, but, like, no, I mean, consumers pay it just the same. It's bundled into the price of the good. Yeah. So Latitude says, you said period products and I thought period costumes. That's pretty brilliant. My current period costumes drama, to just take that segue and run, is I am watching The Great. Second season just came out. It is a not at all really based on Catherine the Great television show. It has Ellie Fanning and some very pretty dude who looks like a young Jonathan Rhys Meyers in it, but it's really not based on Catherine the Great. It's like theoretically about Catherine the Great, but like they literally say in their title card an occasionally true story. Like, I mean, they've like lots of things are not true in it. That being said, the costuming, amazing. Dean says, businesses here don't pay VAT for B2B sales. It's the end purchaser who pays. Yeah, exactly. And that's also true here with sales tax, which is like in the US, if you are like, for example, a sticker shop, and you go to Michael's, which is a very large craft store here in the US, but you actually operate as a business, you can bring your state tax ID number as a reseller or as a business, and you can not pay sales tax for your purchase from Michael's. So yeah. Abel Jack says, has Gillian Anderson is good, much enjoy. I'm getting through it very slowly, and I haven't gotten to the Gillian Anderson yet point, but I am literally, like, that is why I was willing to tune back in for this season. Latitude says, you think Nicholas Hoult looks like Jonathan Rhys Meyers? Yes. A young JRS? Yes, totally. I mean, like, bring up Jonathan Rhys Meyers in, like, Bend It Like Beckham, and then compare, or like, look up Jonathan Rhys Meyers in Velvet Goldmine and compare against Nicholas Hoult. I think they look the same. But maybe this is just my underdetermination of white men. They all just kind of look the same to me. Like, pretty white dudes kind of look all the same to me. So maybe this is my fault. He's very, like, he's very androgynously pretty, I would say. What else was I going to say about... Oh, people want to talk about the market correction. So, let's talk segue, market correction. We got a little bit of time on these candles still. Latitude is like, I would much rather talk about period costumes and planners. Okay, very briefly, what essentially happens, so Black Friday is usually supposed to be a day when companies see their prices go up. And it usually is not a day where we see currencies start dropping, but we really struggled with this last week. So we had the Omicron market corrections, and then the euro was dropping, like massive drop. We can actually even put on the screen like the euro vis-a-vis other currencies. Euro vis-a-vis, let's look at it via USD. Okay. So yeah. Screen mirroring office. Okay. So this is what happened. This is what happened to the euro vis-a-vis the USD last week. And you can really see that drop off last week. There was a period there last Thursday where if you wanted to buy euros, you really should have been buying them. And it's starting to go back up a little bit. This was essentially the day that Austria announced the lockdowns. And this was the same day that Denmark and Germany were upgraded on the U.S. State Department's like travel warnings list, and they were moved from reconsider travel, which is like every country in the world right now because of COVID, to do not travel. So they went to the red level warning, and this is the reason that essentially the price of euros dropped vis-a-vis dollars. What we saw was that essentially like low risk currencies, normally low risk currencies. So these would be currencies like, for example, the euro, the Great British pound, the US dollar, Japanese yen, the Chinese yuan. All of those were pretty heavily affected, except the Chinese yuan. And the reason the Chinese yuan was not affected, so Japanese yen was affected, but its price went up and people were buying it because it has been doing a good job of the COVID crisis since the Olympics. And, China is about to have the Beijing Olympics in 3 months. And, they've got some pretty sketchy things going on right now as far as, one of their star tennis players kind of disappeared for several weeks after raising very serious allegations against a prominent coach. It was definitely very interesting to see what happened. I will say that it is also recovered a little bit. So this huge drop that happened to the euro, most particularly, was happening to the prices of a ton of stocks because of the essentially what was the Omicron market correction. And unfortunately, it came right at the exact same time that Black Friday was supposed to happen. So we have a combination of factors going on here. One, as you've probably noticed as a consumer, unless you are awesome and have not been trying to buy anything in any of the sales, Black Friday for a lot of retailers started almost an entire month ago. And that was part of the reason they did that is because retailers are trying to smooth the fact that they are still dealing with massive supply chain interruptions. So they're not going to have as much stock to sell. And they have other reasons why not as much stock to sell. And physical stock, I should say, not stocks. And they are also not necessarily going to be able to lower prices as much as they maybe previously would have been able to because we are seeing inflation in the overall economy. The cost of inputs is higher. The cost of crude oil is higher. All of that kind of leads to the conclusion that, and then delivery has been a mess for everyone, right? Like USPS, FedEx, delivery has just been a problem with supply chains, demand, everything like that. That normally goods are a thing that we as US consumers do not buy a ton of. But what happened to the largest economy in the world, the United States, that is the reason for my American focusedness here. It isn't just because I'm American or because I think our hegemony is the best, but we are the largest economy in the world. And what happens to America's economy affects everyone. So one of the big things that happened was that we switched from a service-based economy where most of our money and our GDP was being driven by service to being driven by goods. And that's because we weren't able to spend as much on services. We weren't spending on travel. We weren't spending on entertainment. We weren't spending on massages. We were spending less on healthcare. Even though we had a global pandemic going on, we were delaying surgeries. We were spending less on elective surgeries. And all of that led to the fact that we have been buying goods. We got stimulus dollars rolling in. People had more money from unemployment until that ran out. People just had more pocket money because they weren't commuting if they were still working. All of that led to us having absolutely epic demand for goods. Because we had epic demand for goods, that meant that we aren't necessarily looking to spend as much on goods during Black Friday. And it meant that the demand for goods meant that the stock that maybe would have been held over to Black Friday had been sold off earlier in the year. And the resupply wasn't really happening the same way in the supply chain. So, for something like a durable good, like a food processor is a great example. That's something I bought new, which means it contributes to the GDP. Fun fact, when you buy used, it does not contribute to the GDP. So me buying that food processor, contributing to the GDP, that food processor, even though it was in stock to be delivered to my house from that Bed Bath & Beyond for 2 hours after I bought it, that probably, the supply and the building of that was planned freaking a year ago. And that's how long supply chains will happen. And so this is one of the things that I think is like important to understand. Think of what was happening a year ago. Right? There were massive lockdowns around the world. We're still obviously dealing with like huge issues when it comes to both crude oil for supplying the ships that get things around the world. And we're dealing with the fact that we have less commercial flights going in and out. So that's our express shipping. And because commercial flights, like a ton of regular commercial flights that you and I ride on, there's actually like a lot of FedEx packages and stuff in the back of those. Now, you add on top of that the fact that we've got a freaking cargo container ship like buildup at a bunch of ports. We had strikes at some ports, and we have a labor shortage. So, you know, a lot of people think we are at what is considered full employment in the economy. The technical definition of full employment does not mean 0% unemployment. You will always have friction in employment, even during World War II. So World War II is like the definition of we were actually overemployed, like labor shortages abound. We had people entering the workforce that had never been in the workforce, notably a lot of women, mothers, that previously had not, you know, middle-class mothers that had not previously been part of the workforce in their childbearing years were entering the workforce because we were so close to it, and we were at 1% unemployment. Because there's always going to be people changing jobs, waiting for the right fit, getting out of college and not necessarily going straight into a job, getting out of high school, not going straight into a job, moving to start a new job, like, you know, any of those things. Latitude says, not their prices, their stocks. So here's the thing. When I say prices of companies, I do actually mean their stocks. And that is because the price of a stock is the thing that we do see a correction of. I also will talk about the price of a currency vis-a-vis another currency, because that is literally like how many euros do you need to spend to buy a US dollar? And right now, you need to spend like 90 euro cents to buy a US dollar, as opposed to the normal 85 euro cents or whatever to buy one US dollar. Cheryl says, well, we believe the Winter Olympics will happen in about a month. Well, it actually starts in February, but yeah, I don't think we really believe it. But China certainly does. So we'll see. They're currently moving along. I mean, and they've done an excellent job at containing COVID, even if they may have been the ones who made it in a lab. Demonetized immediately. But, yeah, they've done an excellent job of containing COVID, so I think as long as they're allowed in. Nikki says, for the comment earlier about feelings related to corporations and systemic societal issues, the book Debt, The First 5,000 Years by David Graeber comes to mind. I found it to be a juicy read. Ooh, I'm definitely going to read that. That sounds great. Anybody else have any questions about the market correction? So some of the bounce back has been that it looks like Omicron, even though it was like made a variant of concern, it may be more contagious, but it looks like vaccines are effective. And we kind of didn't find that out till after the WHO named it as a variant of concern. And because of that, we did see a little bit of a rebound. Interesting things that happened. So there is an exchange traded fund, which is essentially, it's similar to a mutual fund, only it's not actively managed. So an exchange traded fund is you can bundle different types of things together. So there is one called JETS, Jets, and that one contains a bunch of plane stocks, as its very clever name Jets would imply. And it has a bunch of airline stocks, and it dropped 7.8% on Friday, like tanking. And that ETF has actually been really looked at as kind of like a bellwether for how the COVID recovery economy is going. And it makes sense that there would be people valuing that exchange traded fund and selling it off when it looks like, ooh, airlines maybe aren't going to be returning as quickly. Like if I'm questioning if my trip to Denmark at the end of December is going to happen, that is a great example of like, are they going to have to refund me? Is that, yeah. So, Cheryl says, I'm so glad you're talking about this. I did not know. I mean, I also think it's not terribly, I really like to reemphasize to people, it isn't that important to follow the ups and downs of the market as a whole if you are not someone who's spending all day trading, right? Like it's probably better to not be following the ups and downs of the market as a whole. But it was interesting to see it. We also did see some other stocks rise. A lot of the so-called COVID stocks, which are healthcare companies, so vaccine manufacturers, for example, Moderna's stock rose quite a lot. And this was maybe, I think some of the anticipations were, are they going to be making more money because they are actually going to need to make another round of a booster for variants? Obviously there's a lot of compelling reasons to have these variants. To have more vaccines because we are seeing these mutations happen in low vaccinated populations. So Moderna has more value on the global market. It's one of the most highly distributed vaccines. Another one that we saw rise was Zoom. Zoom is a video conferencing app. Its stock has been going gangbusters for most of the time. And I think it had been seeing a little bit of correction from the early days of the pandemic where it was people were buying Zoom stock all over the place. And that was definitely like, I think a thing that is interesting when it comes to like looking at this is immediately people are going, oh, people are probably going to be flying less. It looks like Moderna is going to continue to be valuable. Like vaccine manufacturers are going to continue to be valuable. And probably some conferences going to be canceled. And Zoom is going to continue to have value. People are still going to be working from home, So, those are the situations that happened. Some of it is rebounded, but for the U.S. markets, they're not reopened yet. It's not Monday morning. The Asian markets didn't see nearly as much correction. We did see some of the higher yield stocks be sold off. So the New Zealand dollar, the Australian dollar, the South African rand had a rough time of it. And the South African rand, is considered a high yield one because it's a little less of a stable currency. We also saw a lot of emerging currencies, which essentially means from lower income countries. We saw a lot of those currencies take a hit as well. And that is likely because the expectation that they will continue to suffer the most. They are the least likely to get vaccines. They are probably the most likely to end up having mutations that affect their borders. So things like that. Yeah. So therefore less likely to be able to, their currency is going to have less value. So that's essentially what happened. I mean, there was a lot going on. Oh, I will also say that the Hong Kong, it was also detected in Hong Kong, and we did see a correction for the Hong Kong dollar as well. So yeah. Anybody have any questions about market corrections, or should I eat this donut? I'm going to eat this donut unless anybody has any questions. Well, I'll answer these questions in a donut. So this is a Pear pumpkin fritter, kind of ending our fall themed ones. And it looks fantastic. I feel like it has like a pear glaze on it. Candle update. Closer to falling into donut. I think it actually was far enough away, it would be fine. Mmm. Okay, the glaze is definitely the pumpkin glaze. It's kind of like eating a pumpkin pie on top. Aaron says, or should I eat this donut? Always yes. The thing is that Abel Jack usually is the one to protest. Oh, yeah. I see the pear in there. Like, you can see a little bit of pear in the side. Yeah, there we go. So there's like a piece of pear sticking out. Mmm. It's a weird combo. Donut is inevitable. Sad, sad. Is it really sad, though? We gotta have something to break up the economics. Otherwise, everybody will get depressed. I considered turning this into a cooking live stream where we made latkes. I really had no plans for this live stream. I didn't want to move the camera, so. And I'm not going to cook at my desk. I really just wanted to try out the new food processor. Okay, there's not very many pear pieces in here, but the pumpkin-y glaze is great. It's not like overly sweet. It's like a, kind of tastes like an unsweetened pumpkin. The journaling room says you should totally do a cooking live stream one day. I think it would be fun to do, but yeah, we do have to move a lot of stuff out there, so. I'll have to think of something that's good to do on stream. This is very big. What is my rating? I don't know. The pear is very fleshy. Like, they wanted to cook it well enough so it's not, like, too... They want it to be not, like, too hard when you bite in. But I just don't like the look of very cooked pear. Christina says, share your vegan nacho recipe. To be fair, I am not the nacho maker in the house, but we can maybe do a joint stream. Literally, I just sit on the couch while nachos are made for me. Sometimes I'm skating and I request them to be started before I come home, but they're going to get much faster now because of the food processor, so... But, you know, I'm going to cook so much now that I have a food processor. That's what I told myself. Y'all want an update on my planner situation? Let me finish this donut, and then we'll break out the planner. It's right there. Oh my gosh. Okay, now it tastes really sweet. I'm going to give this 4 out of 5. It's pretty good. I ate the whole thing and it's giant, but yeah, it's a lot. Now I have to lick my fingers because I'm going to touch paper. Oh, People are excited about the planner. Well, you can do a little plan with me, which is really just me listing all of the shit that I need to do. There we go. Aaron was going to type out the nacho recipe in this comment, but then realized there's actually a bunch of steps. Don't you have a link to the nacho recipe?
Might be old.
Might not be updated appropriately. Okay. Also, what's important to know is the nachos are made separately so that Aaron can have real cheese and I can have my dumb vegan cheese. Which we had found the perfect cheese for nachos that was not good for anything else. It was this Trader Joe's cheese that it literally said you had to bake it at 425 for 10 minutes before you could use it. And it tasted like actually like plastic if you didn't bake it. And it doesn't have like a good taste or anything, but what it does have, like it's not like very flavorful, meaning it's not bad tasting. It's like glue. Like it was so good for nachos because it would just glue the layers together. So if you mixed it with like another cheese that had some flavor, yeah, it worked very well. All right, here is the planner. This is this week's, which is, I'm trying to like, let's see if I can actually, I have to kind of move though, and I need to still be in the dot. So this is this week's, there's not a lot. As you saw yesterday, I had a lot of plans for what I was going to do with yesterday. We didn't have German class, which we normally have on Saturday mornings, because there was a American holiday on Thursday. And because of that, I just didn't have my normal routine. And then that led to me sitting on the couch the entire day yesterday, completely aware of what I should be doing and then not doing it. So it's going great. So yeah, I'm still using the Hobonichi. I'm planning on using the Hobonichi for next year. I'm trying to decide if I should sell the Jimbun Techo that I have. I have a Jimbun Techo Days that I got for 2022. And then I also have this very nice Midori planner, but I'm pretty sold on the Hobonichi, so I think I'm gonna sell them because I cannot in any way justify using a second planner. Like I'm not gonna need it. But I think the Hobonichi is gonna work well for me, but I am gonna be in a different job next year, and because of that, I don't quite know what my lifestyle looks like yet. So I'm flying out on Friday, and I'm doing breakfast on the bridges for the first time since February of 2020. Breakfast on the bridges is a thing we do where we serve breakfast on the bridge to, on 3 different bridges actually, to bikers and walkers in Portland every last Friday of the month. And we do it every Friday in June. But it has not been happening because of COVID. I've been doing it. I've been a B&B volunteer for, oh my God, 14 years now. So it has been a lot. Latitude says a different job. More details about that on my journal. Still don't want to talk too much about it on the stream, but you can go check my journal on the forums if you want to know more about it. And then at some point, I'll talk about it on the stream. Oh, there is a Pusheen coaster on the side. I was looking for a Pusheen and I forgot. Yeah, there's a little Pusheen. There you go. So, oh, I just have the Shama snuffed. So Iris Bear says, I just got my first bullet journal this weekend. We'll see how long I can keep it up. That's awesome. I cannot do the bullet journaling thing. I need date. We've talked about this before. I think you've been here for my many, many rants about how I literally cannot handle undated planners, but props to people that can. I cannot. I need the dates. I will screw it up and I will just miss it. Should I do a plan with me or should we just do the packing list? Let's see. What do I actually have on my schedule this week? So what I'm doing here, I'm going to move the Pusheen out of the way. What I'm doing here is I'm pulling up my calendars and then I'll just add it in. I don't actually pre-fill my weeks out in my planner. I still do those digitally because this is everything for work for me. And then I put them in as I go through the week. And then obviously, like, I track and color code my time during the week. I don't 100% know why I do it this way, but it works fine for me. Okay, so I have my one-on-one at 9 a.m. on Tuesday. Then I'm out of office on Friday. So I'm going to have to do B&B and then, like, race to the airport because our flight is in the morning. It's from 7 to 9, but I guess I'll just do only an hour, which is really a bummer because it's our first time back and I would like to be there the whole time. But I didn't really think we were going to come back, nor did I think we usually do it last Friday of the month, but we don't. In December and November, we combine it together into one because nobody likes to work on the last Friday of November because that is a holiday for a lot of people from work, and then a lot of people are traveling right between Christmas and New Year's in the States. So we pick a random Friday between there that, like, works for everybody to do. And the third was picked, which is good. I'm not entirely out of town. I'm just not in love with how I'm going to have to kind of race back. This is my support team meeting. And then when is PT? I'm in the wrong week. That is why. Wait, no, am I? Yes. And USDOT check-in. And PT at 7:15. And skating class. I think this is my last week of skating class, maybe. And I don't have German class. And then the all staff. And live stream will not be happening on Sunday at the same time. All right, so, oh, my dollar. What do I have to do this week? I have to do, that's very pleasant. Okay, I have to book commercial kitchen. And that is, I think, all I need to do. Okay, what else do I have to do? Oh, yeah. When I pick the live stream time, I have to send it out. And Iris Bear says too much organization. I mean, this is very, very empty for now. Okay, now, because I'm leaving this week, my personal life list is going to be massive. So I almost think that I'm going to have to put this on, I'm going to put this on its own page. So I haven't used my Sunday page today. So this is going to be my thing for the week. For the fountain pen fans, I am breaking out the Kawaiko Speed fountain pen. I really like it on this paper, actually, a lot. I still am, like, obsessed with using black on the actual week pages, but the siren did wake up the cat. Oh, that's why there's sirens. Yeah, the organization is what causes the sirens. I really cannot, like, I don't know how other people do this. Sorry, I have to tilt it. There's just no way. I'm just not functional that way. Okay. So what do we have to do? This is my to-do before trip. Pack. cord label. So I have like all new electronics. Like I've gotten a new iPhone since last time I went on an international trip. And I usually label all of my cords so that I can find and know them. And I had to like buy a new USB hub. Anyway, there's just a lot of stuff that has changed. Cord labels. So I need to relabel my cords and number them. Then call pharmacy. I've actually lost my physical COVID card, and so I need to call the Walmart where I got it, and I may have to race there after work tomorrow to pick it up, which is not great because it is very far away from my house. But, you know, it is get-toable, so I have a digital version of my vaccine card, and I also have the printout from the state, vaccine. Like, I have all of my vaccines that are in my state record printout from the official system, which, like, only authorized people can have. But I 100% lost my actual vax card, so that's great. Really love that for me. So I have to call them tomorrow. They said they probably can do it, but, yep, I love it. It's great, real fun. Probably the digital one is going to be fine. I've definitely lost the vaccine card because they aren't fittable in a wallet. So if they'd been fittable in a wallet, I probably would not have lost it. Okay, so final load of towels. Okay, so B on B treats. Not entirely sure what I'm going to make for B&B. Hopefully something that I have the ingredients for here, because I really don't want to go back to the grocery store. And cat printout. Finnish vegan passport. And right address of first hotel, and then Finnish eSIM, and then basic phrases. So I did a little bit of Duolingo in Finnish, not because I'm not going to learn Finnish. It is like a really freaking hard language. But I always try to learn at least, and most people will speak English in Finland. But I am going, and if they don't speak Finnish, they might speak German. I usually always try to learn at least thank you, excuse me, hello, and do you speak English or German? So, Erin is teasing me about the microwave cake in a mug. So I craved something sweet, but I didn't want to go out to the store this week. And then I made a cake in the mug recipe, and then I ended up making it again this week. So now I'm an expert in making cake in a mug. It's not even that good, but, you know. The irony being that I live extremely close to a vegan donut shop and, like, bazillion stores. Okay. Final load of towels, because I don't want any wet towels. Then cat printout. Oh, yeah, keys. Usually Erin does that, but I'll just put it on my list. Okay, anything else I need to do? What else am I forgetting before an international trip? The Finnish vegan passport refers to the fact that I have this app. It used to be a physical book. I actually still have the physical book. But it's called Vegan Passport. And it is, if all else fails, this is a thing. It in almost any language that they can get, it's like over 280 languages, it says the definition of vegan on it in the local language, and you can like hold it up to people and ask them to hold it up to people and then ask them if you like don't speak the language. It is come very much in handy for me I usually just try to either go to grocery stores where I can like read the packaging. In Europe, it's fine because all of the packaging has all of the European languages for the European common market on it. And one of those languages, but there's still a country that has English as an official language. I was going to say, is that going to come off now that Britain isn't in there? But there's one other country that has English as an official language that's part of the EU. But at the very least, I can always read the German. So I like to go to grocery stores where I can just like peruse the ingredients list, or go to vegetarian restaurants or places like recommended on Happy Cow, which is the app. And it is like, I find it like, I would prefer to support like vegetarian establishments. I usually try to couch surf when I'm couch surfing with someone who's vegetarian or vegan, because they'll show me like the local spots you might not know about. Or like they're happy to like, we can just hang out and I can pay for some groceries to thank them for staying there, and then we make some vegan food together. I've met some great friends that way. But I'll put charge batteries in here. Oh yeah, I also want to like download books on Kindle. So I have to get some stuff out from the library, and then I also need to return my library books because I have finished both of them, my physical books. But yeah, it's like a good last shot. And then it also has this picture, if you like really can't make the languages work, that's like, no. And then it just has a picture of like all of the things that they might try to feed you, and then a yes for all of these. The only thing that I dislike about this is because it's a vegan app, so all of the translations were done by native speakers too, so it really is like they did put a ton of work into it when it was a book as well. I wish I could find a book because it's just like a little tiny pocket book. I've used it all over the world. It wasn't until I only had an iPhone, way after I'd been in a lot of countries. But I found it super helpful. And the other additional thing, am I blowing out the mic because I'm so close to it?
You're not audible.
I'm not audible. Oh, okay, that's great. But the other thing I find like kind of annoying about it is they include honey in there, which honey is not included in my definition. Mostly honey is not like such a important ingredient. Like, and I'm also not a very picky vegan. Like I just do my best effort. I've definitely eaten some animal byproducts when I'm traveling. I don't think I've accidentally eaten any meat, but my feeling is I put my best effort in. I'm also not vegan for animal rights reasons, really. I'm mostly vegan just because I have been for a really long time and everything else sounds gross to me, so I don't have particularly compelling reasons. It's also good for the environment. But there are, times that I wish I was not and that I was more comfortable. But like at this point, I don't think eating dairy randomly on a trip because it's like the easiest thing to eat, I think would cause more problems in my body that has not had any non-vegan food in 20 years. So yeah, but I've definitely had some noodles with eggs on them or something that had egg wash on it, some pastry that had egg wash, where I did my best, but who knows. I'm not that picky. I don't really care. I'm not a purity vegan. Dean says, as someone who's toured Norway as a vegetarian musician a good while ago, this looks so useful. That's so funny. I did not tour Norway. I only was in Oslo. But I loved Oslo because they have all of these, they're kind of like Vogels, but they're like anarchist squats where you can get for like €5, like a really, really thorough all-you-can-eat meal. And that's where I ate like all of my food was at those squats because everything in Norway is so expensive. But I loved it. And I brought like my other, I was in Oslo on like a exchange trip when I was studying, in Germany, and I was like a lot older than the other students there. Not a lot, but I was like a good 6 years older than the average student that was on that exchange trip. And they like definitely none of them knew that there was like a such thing as vegetarian squats, and so I found and researched them and then like brought them to these weird dark alleys, and then you like went upstairs and you like you just got served a nice vegetarian dinner. I actually found it decently affordable there to eat, but to do anything else, include like breathe too much, Norway was too expensive. So I'm really gonna like Finland. At least I have more income than I did when I left to Germany. We'll find out. I feel like I definitely have other things I need to do before then. Like, what are the things that I'm like putting off dealing with? Oh yeah. Back up and dump SD cards. I actually, my normal backup just this week started saying it had issues and I had to reinstall my backup. So my computer hasn't been backed up in like a week, which is fine. I haven't done anything important on my computer in a week, but Copenhagen has some good places too. Oh, cool. Well, we were supposed to be in Copenhagen in September, but we were not. So, Iris Bear says, if you'll be in Helsinki, you should look up St. Urho. I think they have a statue at least. Is it a place to eat or is it just a place with a statue? I'm open to either, but I need to know which it is before. So, okay, I'm going to write St. Urho. And then the last thing I usually do, so I have to do eSIM. I don't think I put that on oh no, I did put it on there. But the last thing I usually do is instructions to airport, to hotel from airport offline. So yeah, there we go. Norway was tricky. I took Marmite to scare people with, though. That was fun. I'm really surprised that you had trouble in Norway just because everybody speaks English so easily there. But Iris Bear says, it's a holiday created by Minnesota Finn, but I think it's just a statue there. Minnesota Finns. Oh, interesting. We'll see. I'll be in Helsinki, and then we're going to be up in Rovaniemi. And I am really, really hoping to actually produce a travel vlog and then edit it and put it online. By the way, if you are still watching this stream and you are not yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, please subscribe and like this video and stuff, because I am shatteringly close to 800 subscribers, which has taken me almost 15 years to get to on YouTube. So I would like to, I know that it probably won't happen at the current rate of growth, but I would really like to hit 1,000 subscribers before the 15th birthday of my channel, which is on Christmas this year. So December 25th. I would just be very happy if I do that. It just would be personally satisfying to me. It doesn't really mean anything for my income or any real accomplishments. And I clearly don't care enough about it to actually edit and post any videos online, but it would still be nice to do. But, you know, I'm going to be having more free time soon, as soon as I stop having to study for this darn exam, hopefully if I pass it. And, that means that hopefully I'll have more time to edit. So, oh yeah, question I have that's planner related. I haven't decided if I'm going to take this book out of this cover and put it in a more slim cover and bring this to like travel journal in. Because I'm not really a journaler already, I don't really feel like it needs to be in this book, so I probably won't bring it, but it's gonna be sad to not use these pages while I'm gone. So but this is not like a completeness thing, because I actually got this book in October, so, or like late September, so I didn't even use the first half of it. So I don't know, it's just gonna be a little sad to have all those pages empty. And there's part of me that's like, well, if I already have it, I should bring it as the travel journal. But I don't know. We'll see. I think that's it. Any questions about planner stuff? Oh, should I put I should put my Hanukkah candles on next week's. So, oh wait, today is the first day, huh? I already don't know when things started. I'm doing great. Saturday didn't exist to me. I thought today was Saturday because all I did was sit on the couch and watch YouTube videos. Well, I watched YouTube documentaries, and those YouTube documentaries were the YouTube documentaries were all over the place because I was in like a deep procrastination hole. And the deep procrastination hole I was in included me learning about the South Korean school system, me learning about the difference between posh schools and public schools when students that swapped in the UK. What other things did I learn about? I don't know. It was all over the place. Should I really waste my little candles on my day that I'm not here? I do feel like these stickers could have been made in groups. It's very hard to get them to line up, and I am not a precise enough person to do this. Wait, I need one more. That was a really bad one. The journaling broom asks how long I'm going to be traveling for. I think we're there for a week. It's not a terribly long trip. And then we're back for a couple weeks, and then we have a trip planned to Finland. I don't really know how Denmark to Denmark. So Finland is next week or the week after. And then Denmark it was supposed to be for New Year's. We'll see how that goes. Then I feel like I screwed up. Did I screw up? I thought Hanukkah... Oh, it ends on Monday night, which means it actually the last night of Hanukkah is Sunday. That's why. You can use tweezers for the stickers. That would assume that I have tweezers in any way accessible or useful. Have you seen my eyebrows? Do you really think I have tweezers around my house? They're called precision tweezers, I think. This is not happening. Sorry, y'all. I think if I get to the point where I'm placing stickers with tweezers, then I have other... No, I don't... There's just... To me, that means that this has become more of a... It's jumped the shark from being about organization to being about crafting. And to me, that feels like too much. Okay. There we go. I think I did it right. Oh, apparently I was supposed to put the shamashes on it because I have a whole nother round. But you know what? I can keep them for next year. So that's fine. I have a little Hanukkah sticker, but I don't really have anywhere good to put it. So I'll just save this for next year. Iris Bear says, I can never find my tweezers. Yeah. I mean, I know where my regular tweezers... I'm not going to do that. Sorry. It's not going to happen. Anybody have any other economics questions or planner questions? What do you think I should do with the Jimbun Techo days? I really like it as the layout, but I feel like the Hobonichi's working. And I think you can't get them now, so I probably would be able to resell it for as much as I spent. And I did want to get it because I originally thought it was going to be what I used, and then I kind of fell in love with the Hobonichi. I'm trying to find it. Hold on. Yeah, so I know. Iris Bear says, don't fix it if it's not broken for you. Yeah, I know. I just wish that I had a need for this because I really love this layout. It's so cool. It's like split down the middle for the days. And this is like precisely how I use my Hobonichi, where I like put the hours and then I used a checklist. It's a lot less like journaling kind of open space like the Hobonichi is. And it's kind of a more reasonable size, because the problem I run into with this one is, you know, for the weekly spread, this is fine. But for the daily, it's like I end up writing really big because it just seems like a lot of empty space. But the way I was going to do it was I was going to have, because I have to have a weekly view for my own sanity, I was going to combine these two. And this is the Midori day length diary. Kenneth says, keep it as a backup. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm struggling with, is like, should I keep it as a backup and then I could sell them still like unused later in the year when they're like impossible to find secondhand. Iris Bear says, I'm keeping my dated planned in case the bullet journal becomes overwhelming for me, but I only have those two right now. Yeah, essentially I have the Hobonichi and then this like essentially B5 version of a Hobonichi, but with the Jembun Techo. Like, because this was my thought, is like I get the dailies and then I get this as sort of my weeklies, and I love the Midori paper like a lot. But I already kind of have talked myself out of using this one, in which case I probably won't be using this. I know a lot of people who keep a separate work planner, but the thing is if I keep this as a separate work planner, because this is really kind of better for a work planner, I don't even know what I would put on the daily pages in the Hobonichi. Nothing, as far as I could tell. So, because I only really use it for to-do lists. So, yeah. I'm going to put a little... They open at 9 a.m. tomorrow. Call pharmacy. Hopefully I see that in the morning. Remind me tomorrow at 9 a.m. to call pharmacy. Okay. Latitude says, I use a bullet journal, but I just started looking at the cheap Hobonichi knockoff you linked in the journal. Yeah, if you look at my journal on the forums, I wish, maybe I'll try to throw it in a link for people that watch this in the replay. But there is this, like, version of the Hobonichi that you can get from Amazon in the US, but I think it's available in other countries, that has essentially the same version of the weekly layout, and no dailies. Which, honestly, like, I don't think I could use this version without at least some dailies, just because, or some, like, note pages, because there isn't enough room for my to-do lists on a daily basis. But I love the weekly view in this, and I do feel like these days are just too many days. I don't know. Dean says, beautiful stationery is so hard to part with. Yeah, for me, it's like worry that, like, what if the Hobonichi stops working for me? And then, like, if the Hobonichi stops working for me, I'm not going to be able to get a hold of either of these planners anymore. They're both, like, Japanese, hard to find usually in the States. So I bought them when they were available from resellers. And my concern is, like, I do want to try these out, but I would have to buy them secondhand and they would be priced up. But, is it sized the same, and does the paper bleed? It's 6 through 24, but, like, I just want to visualize my week and work hours. Oh, interesting. So it doesn't have the 0 through 5 down here that this does. I just use those as, like, where I put my graphs and stuff, because I'm never awake past 10:30. So, except for when I do dumb things like stay up all night reading, like I was doing last week. But it's sized the same, and it's $15, so it absolutely bleeds. Yeah, it's definitely not made with Tomo River paper. If you're interested in a version made with Tomo River paper, but is not from the US, and has slightly more options, including the B6 size option, which I really like compared to the A5. I actually think this is, like, a little more, it's not so small as, it's just like the regular sized Hobonichi is way too small for me. and the A5, like the daily pages, are a little too big for me, but this is kind of a perfect size. This one, if you are interested in getting this, but with the Hobonichi layout, you can also look at Wonderland 222. Not spelled Wunderland, spelled Wonderland. They are a U.S. company, and therefore you're more likely to be able to get them without having to go through all the haranguing of finding resellers that sell Japanese planners. And that is on the Tomo River paper, but they have some different layouts and different sizes, and it's pretty close to the Hobonichi. It's a Hobonichi knockoff. But what's cool about it is they kind of fill some of the gaps that Hobonichi does not fill. So if that is something that you want, that is an option. It's also an option if you want those weeklies, but and you want like a notebook in the back, but you don't want it to be the same. The big reason I'm like, one, this is working for me, and two, I think the reason I want to stick to it is that I just kind of got into the Hobonichi world, and I'm not like a big planner person. Like, as you can see, I've even like cut down on the amount of stickers I'm using as I've been absorbing less planner channels and content and stuff like that. But, oh, sorry, I took it off the screen like right as you put it up. It's fine. We don't have to put it up there. But I like that Hobonichi has such like intense fans and such an intense community around it. Like, it's just cool. It's nice to be included. It's nice to be part of something, right? All right. Well, this has been a lovely stream. We've been streaming a long time, so we can stop now. We do not have a floof of the week this week. The floof of the week, please, if you are an Oh My Dollar Patreon, please submit them to questions@ohmydollar.com. Pictures of your floof, and also some pictures of your floof and some facts about your floof, whatever you'd like to include, and their name. And please send that to me. You can DM it to me on the Oh My Dollar forums or send it to questions at the Oh My Dollar. Yes, we do a floof of the week because she's very obedient and got in the box today. She knocked that box down with like 20 toys this week, like knocked it over, and they all fell on the floor. And Erin and I were like, well, you have to clean up after yourself, so we're going to leave those on the floor until you clean it up. And then she didn't, and I was cleaning today because we are leaving, and I don't want our cat sitters to judge us. And I was like, okay, I guess I'm picking your toys up for you, Dora. So I did give her a grilled cheese toy because I felt like, oh, the grilled cheese is fried. It's a good Hanukkah toy. Mostly because I failed to buy her the Latka catnip toy that I definitely almost bought, and then I didn't buy, and then all of a sudden Hanukkah was here. So, well, thank you all for spending some of your Sunday night here. And as soon as I know what time the stream will be, I will post it here on YouTube. I'll send it out to folks on Patreon, and I will, I guess, see you all soon. And yeah, I think that's it. I hope you all have lovely weeks. I will be getting more and more frantic throughout the week. And cheers. See you on the forums.